Hey, welcome to GMI Hub Online. I'm Cheryl, your host. I'm so glad you're able to join us. This is a very, very special episode of GMI Hub. We are actually, well, I can go and tell you, but we are actually going to be having a presentation from SOCAN. Yes, SOCAN has come to town, and we are so glad that they've come to join us here. But before I continue, let me introduce myself again. I'm Cheryl, and my wonderful co-host, Dale Borland. Dale.
Well, thank you for coming on, joining us. I'm so glad you're here, because this is going to be an incredible, we're kind of on a quest today.
Yes.
Yeah. So as we go through this, we're going to be just having a great time with you. I just want to let you know more about us. We are the gmihub.ca is the website you can go to find out more about us. gmihub.ca. You go there, you can find actually a contact area. You can drop your email to us, and that way we'll be able to, talk with you on an ongoing basis. Also, we have a Hub Happening, which is our monthly newsletter, which we send out every month, and you'll get that absolutely free, and it's going to be something you can put in, it's not junk mail, it's really good stuff, talking about all the stuff we're doing, like events like this. Also, we have live showcases and so many other things coming up. We just want to make you aware of it. And if you have an event you're doing, or you're an artist who does music, and you want to let us know about it, we might even put it in our Hub Happening. So we don't know about it unless you let us know about it. So that's why you have to connect with us on gmihub.ca. So take advantage of that. Also, we're on lots of the different platforms. So join us on TikTok, on Instagram, on X, on what are we not on? Which, like
Facebook.
Facebook,
Instagram.
yeah, of course. So you can check out what we're doing, what we're up to, and that way we can connect with you as well. So that's why it's important for you to actually leave a comment, because that lets us know that you want to engage with what we're up to, and we want to engage with you. So please leave a comment, and we will definitely respond, because that's what we do.
And speaking of leaving of comments, because of the way today's episode is going to be like, if you have any questions, any thoughts that you want to share with us, please put it in the comment section. Dale and I will be watching that. And if you do have questions, we will do our best to ask those after the presentation is happening. So before we delay any longer, I want to introduce our special guest. Our special guest is a Grammy-nominated artist himself. He is more along in the mainstream. His I'm going to say his name wrong now, Nuaman, but known as Lord Quest or Quest. And that's why we're on a quest with Quest. So, so we're going to invite Quest to coming out here. Let's give him a round of applause. Woo! Welcome, Quest. So glad.
Hey. Happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, you know what? It's an absolute honor that we have you here. I mean, we tried to do this before, and anyway, we're glad we have you here now.
And we're looking forward to your presentation. So I'm looking forward to that, because I want these people to realize this is going to be amazing information for you. You don't want to turn away, and you want to watch this. And this will be up on our GMI Hub online YouTube channel. So it's a good resource. You don't want to miss this, so stay tuned.
Right. Before we take off and let Quest take over, let's. I know I kind of talked about it. You've been an artist yourself.
Yes.
For just a few years of your life?
Something like that. It almost seems that way, because it seems so surreal that so many things have transpired in a time span. But I've been creating music, producing, and songwriting for about 2 decades now.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. And recognized by the Grammys, at least to be nominated. Mm-hmm. And I know you've worked with a number of mainstream artists as well. And you've produced for them as well, is that right? So you do your own music and you've produced for them.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask this question from the artist's perspective. How has SOCAN helped you in your career in general? And I know you're going to tell us more about what SOCAN does, but in your 2 decades of being in the music scene, how has SOCAN helped you in your career?
In my 2 decades, the way SOCAN has helped me, giving me a check.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And I think, and the reason why I say that was up until I got to a certain point in my career, I was very ignorant to a lot of the things SOCAN was doing. I just didn't know. I didn't know about all the great offerings or the programs that SOCAN had. I only knew that SOCAN was a PRO and they take care of my royalties, so I
Right.
should expect a check every quarter. So that's all I knew. So I was thankful for that.
Yes.
And then again, taking the time to learn more about the industry and the communities that are built within the industry around us, and seeing that, oh wait, SOCAN offers this, this, and that. Oh, there's so much more to take advantage of, and that they put forth for artists. So at that point, I was like, oh, this is amazing. So I just make it a point now to share that information with younger artists that I'm mentoring or that I come in contact with. Like, hey, I know you're looking at it from this vantage point, but look at this and look at that. So yeah, we'll get into all that today.
Beautiful.
Excellent. So stay tuned. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to present to you Lord Quest.
Here we go. Take
Thank
it away.
you. Thank you. All right. All right. Cool. So today I'm gonna do a presentation. I'm gonna do SOCAN 101 for those who aren't familiar with SOCAN. So you can get just a general overview, but I think by the end of this presentation you'll have a good understanding of what SOCAN is, how SOCAN can benefit you, and why the reasons or why you should be a member if you're not a member, and hopefully you are a member. So let's get into it. So what is SOCAN, first and foremost? A lot of people aren't familiar with SOCAN. Like I had mentioned previously, my understanding when I was younger, or just starting out in the industry, that SOCAN was just somebody who took care of my royalties and made sure I was paid properly. And although that is a big part of it, there's a lot more to it. So SOCAN is what we call a PRO, or a pro, performance rights organization. And we're the biggest, well, we are the only performance rights organization in Canada. And we represent about 180,000 members globally. That consists of artists, producers, composers, visual artists, publishers. We represent all these different bodies, all their works, all the different creatives that culminate these things. SOCAN represents that. We also make it our business to track our performances for our members, tracking billions of music performances around the world daily, just to make sure we're on top of everything that's happening with our members, because that's how you guys get paid, why we do our jobs, and make sure things are in alignment, and making sure we're seeing where the uptick of your music or where things are really just having a moment. We make it our business to really stay on top of that, to make sure you guys are properly compensated. And we also have what we call reciprocal agreements with PROs worldwide. So that means, again, tracking the music, being that your music you can be a Canadian artist, but your music is having an uptick in Sweden or maybe in the UK. We're not physically in those places, but because of the agreements we have with the PROs in those neighboring countries, we're able to get that information from them. They bring it back to us, and that's how we track that. And again, that's done through our reciprocal agreements. So SOCAN is just an amazing entity that's really here to serve artists. We're a non-for-profit, so we're really just here to be an ally and an asset to the business you guys are trying to build. So music equals value. So what does that mean? Music is always bought and sold, but where does the value lie in music? An example we like to tend to use is you have two restaurants side by side. One restaurant has no music, the other restaurant has music, great ambiance. Which one are you more likely to venture into? Probably the one that has music, because it sets a certain tone, it lends itself to a communal type of vibe, and that's just the atmosphere people want to be in. It's just like if you go to the gym, 90% of people that go to the gym, they have their headphones on because they're doing what? They're listening to music. The music is the soundtrack that's giving them the energy to want to move forward, to really want to work out and really get that drive and get that pump. It's the same thing when you're watching a movie. When you're watching certain scenes and the music curates and kind of lends to the emotion, the reason why you feel that way is, again, because of the music. So these are the things we talk about when we say music equals value. Music is one of the things that I personally couldn't live without, and I believe a lot of people couldn't either, because of what it means to our lives and how much it's been able to impact our lives in various ways. So let's talk about music being bought and sold, the different mediums of music. Like I had mentioned before, we make it a point to collect on your music and on your works in the world. We have different variations and different modes that we kind of venture into. We have licensing agreements with different venues. There's the non-musical venues, so those are like your restaurants, your stores, your gyms, and then there's your musical venues or your live music venues. That's where you're gonna go see a show, concert, stadiums. All those different entities have or pay a licensing fee to SOCAN, so that way we can make sure you guys are being properly compensated for your works. And those fees vary depending on the type of venue we're talking about. Also, radio is another great source of income. A lot of people are aware of that. I think radio is amazing. One of the highest, if not. Sync again, if your music is in a movie, in a television show, or like an online film, that's another way to generate income in that space. Usually, the way we track your royalties or track your music in that space is something called cue sheets. So the producer of the film or even the writer of the music will submit what we call a cue sheet to SOCAN, which just indicates a timestamp of where your music was played in the film, how long the duration of the music was used, and that's how we know, okay, this song was in this film at this point. This is what the compensation looks like for that. So sync, movie, television, just a great space to be in. Retailers, again, similar to like I had mentioned before, non-music venues or non-live music venues, having your music just being bought and sold in a physical sense or a digital sense. So that's your Apple Music, that's your Spotify's, and that gets into a different world, and it's a different right altogether. That's what we call our reproduction right, and that's handled by our sister company, SOCAN RR. The other rights that I was mentioning before, again, like the sync and licensing one, the radio, that's all from the performance right, because those are the two main rights that you look at, and I'll get into that a bit later. Interactive digital. Again, interactive digital is like your streaming platform, so your Spotify's, your Apple Music's, because you have the space to curate the music you're listening to. Non-interactive digital is like internet radio, because it's digital, but you don't have the curation as you would in like a Spotify or another DSP. And then online concerts. I know over the pandemic, online concerts seen an uptick, and that's another way a lot of people can see compensation. With concerts, we ask members to submit set lists, so that's another way you get paid. And a lot of people aren't familiar with that. With that one, it's just a matter of doing a show that has a ticket price of $6 or more, and then you could submit your set list to SOCAN on your online portal, which we'll talk about a bit later, and then we can make sure you're compensated for that. Okay, so as I mentioned before, the two main rights, are your performance right and your mechanical right. So your performance rights are your everyday rights. The main ones are, let me just slide over to the next slide. Your radio, census. So census is like college radio, survey, CBC. That's your national radio, concert, live performance, television, film, internet, and international. So again, radio, as I mentioned before, is very lucrative. Again, it probably pays the most out of these. I would say the next was probably, actually, no, I would say international pays the most. But again, radio is a very lucrative space to be in. College radio, again, it does offer some value and it does give you some revenue, not as much as more mainstream radio. Concert and live performance, I've seen a lot of people become very lucrative off of that, and film and broadcast as well. Again, that gets into the sync space, having your music in film or television, as I mentioned before. Internet, that's your digital stream, so maybe a video on YouTube or something, that all pays. If you have on a streaming service like a Disney Plus or Netflix, that's all means where you can receive compensation for. International, again, that's my favorite is international because there's so much room for so much more growth. I had a member that I was talking to, and he had a record that has seeing an uptick in Paris, I believe, and I think that record had about 500 spins on local radio in Paris, and for that 500 spins, it equated about 20 grand. So again, international can be very lucrative if you play your cards right and you know the territories you're in. It's just a great space. But all of these performance mediums are just amazing to kind of venture into, and it's good to kind of dip your music or dip your hand into these different spaces because it lends to your overall pot. Next, we'll talk about the reproduction right. So a reproduction right, for those who aren't familiar, is different from a performance right. Reproduction right is based off of the master recording. So the reproduction right is whenever there's a reproduction or a copy made of your work, that's when the reproduction right is engaged. So again, when you put your music on digital streaming, for instance, when you upload your song to a DSP, they have to make a copy of your song to put it on the server. So that is a reproduction. When you have your song on radio, they have to make a copy of the song to put it in their radio server. That's another reproduction. Audio visual post AV sync, same thing. They're reproducing that song or they're copying that song to put it in a different place. If there's a physical download, again, there's multiple copies being made. If there's a lyric sheet made of your song, that's another reproduction. It's another version of your song that didn't exist prior. So now you're getting compensated for that. And that's where you get into the space, like, again, as I mentioned, online lyrics or like karaoke, and synchronization. These are all reproductions, and these are all things that you can be compensated on and collect on. If you want more information on that, just shoot out email to reproduction@socan.com. The team at SOCAN are very abreast in the space and are willing and happy to give you the information you're looking for and just help you navigate that world, because a lot of people are familiar with the performance right side, but aren't familiar with the reproduction right side and kind of get the two confused. So it's always best to, again, just shoot off a little message and get the information you need just to make sure you're in the know and you're doing what's best for your career at all times. So I want to talk a little about my team. I love my team, great people that I work with. These are our creative executives. Our creative executives, first and foremost, I want to talk about Raquel Villagante. She's our creative executive of West Coast, based in Los Angeles. She does amazing work there because we have a lot of members in Canada that naturally want to migrate to LA because that's just where the music industry just tends to be. So a lot of people want to go out there, want to shoot their shot, just see what the industry has to offer them. So Raquel is there to help navigate that space. Another executive I'll talk about is Liam Russell, new addition to our team. He's also based in LA, but he oversees our LA and Nashville markets. So for our members that are going out to Nashville that want to work on their penmanship or just really get into that space, Liam is your guy. He's more than happy to help assist on the ground and just make connections and just keep people in the know of what's really happening in that space. Next, I want to talk about my partner, Hutan Hadanya, creative executive at East Coast, overseeing Vancouver and Toronto. He's just an amazing person, just very well connected in the industry and doing great work, seeing the East Coast membership and in Toronto as well, just helping people stay connected and just helping procure opportunities for our members as they're growing in their careers. Sarah Dendane, she's our creative executive and partnerships person in Montreal. Phenomenal executive. She oversees our Francophone market, looking over Montreal and Europe, primarily France, because a lot of the relationships tend to sway that way. So she's back and forth between the two, making sure our members are being taken care of, making sure that, again, there's opportunities there for them and that they're just finding the right trajectories in their career. Lastly, I want to talk on Gagan Singh. He's our creative executive of film, television, and visual media. So he handles and oversees all our AV and composers. So these are the members that are focusing on writing for film, writing for television. Gagan is the guy. He's very well versed in that space. He's had several years of experience in that space, and he does an amazing job making sure those members are properly taken care of and just making sure that everyone is comfortable in getting the best out of their careers and getting the most information that they need at all times. And then myself, creative executive of Black Music based in Toronto. Again, I'm here to serve all our members. with a primary focus on our members of color, just helping them understand the industry more and navigating opportunities for them, where it be in Toronto, if it's in LA, Atlanta, Ghana, London, you name it. We're there just to help support our members any way we can. All right. So I want to talk a bit about our creative supports. So I want to start off about our SOCAN offices. I think a lot of people are aware that we have an office in Toronto, but they aren't aware that we have offices in other places. So again, our main offices being Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and Los Angeles. This is where you can find our creative teams, where we're based. If you're ever in one of these cities, by all means, reach out to us. We tend to be out and about because we're connecting with members and helping and servicing members. But by all means, if we are around, we'd love to have a chat with you. We'd love to just have coffee and pick your brain, or you can pick our brains. Just whatever information that you need, we're here to assist and help. Next, I want to talk about craft development. So we'll start with our song camps. We have a thing on our Mondays that we call our Song Camp Mondays that we do every week at our Toronto offices, which is essentially a small song camp where we get a songwriter, a producer, and an artist together to work in the studio for 8 hours, our creative space, free of charge. We provide you with lunch, and it's just a great way to foster connections. Because for me, I'm always a big believer of building businesses for creatives. I think a lot of times as creatives, we're so fixated on what's our next song, what's our next placement, what's our next gig, and are kind of short-sighted on what the overall picture is. And by looking at the overall picture and understanding that, yes, you are an artist and a creative, but you are also a business, it kind of opens a door for different things. So again, doing things like our Song Camp Mondays helps you extend your network and build businesses, because it puts you in rooms with people you probably may have never normally been in the room with, or maybe you have been in the room with, but you can rekindle that relationship, create something new to help the life cycle of what it is you're trying to achieve as a creative. Next is our co-writing help. As I mentioned before, we have offices in various parts of Canada and in the U.S. And again, we have relationships just globally in general. So we always tend to reach out and help our members that are traveling. If we have a member that reaches out and say, hey, I'm going to Korea, is there anyone I can write with there? We can go through our Rolodex of people and help set up some co-writes. If you're going to Nashville, LA, wherever you're going, again, by all means, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll do our best to try to help you and just connect you with good people that are just looking to create and help build something new. I think it's just an amazing thing to have. I wish when I was coming up as a creative, I knew about these things because I would have utilized them. As I had mentioned earlier to Cheryl, like, I became abreast of these things later on in my career, but that's why I just champion this so hard, and I make it a point that creatives should know that these things exist and should take advantage of these opportunities, because there's not many entities out there that are offering this, and I look at other systems in other places in other countries, and a lot of the offerings that we do, that they're not. So it's like, please take advantage of this, utilize these services, and help yourself to be better. Next, I want to talk about our advances. It's definitely something that gets people excited a lot. Who doesn't want an advance? But it is what it sounds like. Yes, we do give advances to our members. The advances vary depending on where you are in your career. Again, if you're starting out, your advance might be a lot smaller than someone who's a lot more established or seasoned in their career and has seen a good amount of success. But it is something that we offer to our members whenever available, just to help them along in their careers and whatever their current needs may be at the time. Lastly is our Sound Lounge. So as I mentioned before, with our Song Camp Mondays, we have a creative space in our office. That's our Sound Lounge, which is a simple studio. You have your speakers, your mic, headphones, a couple instruments in there just to get you started. But it's just a great space just for our members just to come in and create whenever they're in town. We just encourage collaboration, and we want to see that to continue and grow. So that's just a space that we offer to our members to help them to do that. Next thing, I want to talk about our international supports. This is one, again, as I mentioned before, I wish I knew about this earlier when I was an artist and I was starting out on my journey, our SOCAN houses. So we have two main houses. We have a house in Nashville and one in LA. Essentially, what that is a space for our members who are traveling to those various cities to just stay. I know I've been going to LA for 10 plus years, and the cost has only gotten more and more. On average, if I'm going to LA for a week, being in LA, I'm looking at north of maybe 5 grand between flights, hotels, and just traveling on the ground. And with our SOCAN houses, you can stay at the house for up to a week, and it only costs you about $250 US, and that's just to cover the cleaning fees, which to me is an amazing offering because I'll be hard pressed to find a hotel room, a decent hotel room in LA for $250, let alone a place to stay for a week for $250. So I think it's an amazing offering, and I implore our members, please take advantage of it. All the information about it can be found on our website, and it's pretty straightforward. You go on, there's a calendar that shows you the year, and again, like I said, it's straightforward. If it's green, that means the dates are free. If it's red, that means the dates are booked, and you just submit your form, and you're off to the races. And again, the same thing with Nashville. I believe the Nashville house is a bit bigger. I believe that one is about 2 bedrooms, and it's really beautiful. The LA one is nice as well. I haven't been at any of them, but I've seen the pictures and I've heard great things about them. So yeah, please sign up, utilize them if you guys are traveling to these spaces. Make your life a little easier. Um, Another thing, again, as I mentioned, our LA office is a hotbed for a lot of our talent migrating that way. Because again, being in LA, it's a very daunting thing. Once you get into that space, there's so much happening, and you just want to make sure you have good people around you to help you navigate the space. So being in touch with our team, Liam and Raquel out in LA, is just a plus. They're very abreast of what's happening in the city and what's happening in the industry, and can help you navigate that world and just get you into the right rooms and connect with the right people whenever you need that. And then we have our conferencing and shows that we do. We are a part of a lot of conferences. I know last year we did South by Southwest. I was just at East Coast Music Week in November. Again, we were at the Juno. We're always out and about, again, trying to support our members and just trying to find new ways to bring opportunities for you guys to keep you guys engaged and just keep you guys growing in your careers. Right. Another thing I want to talk about for my creative supports is our member profiles and recognitions. So let's start with the SOCAN Awards. I think it's super fun. I love it. We do it biannually. We do an Anglophone one in Toronto, and then we do a Francophone one in Montreal. Again, it's just a space for us to appreciate our members. A lot of our members are very hardworking, and they're doing their best, putting their best foot forward. They're sweat equity into these beautiful pieces of work that come out into the world for people to enjoy. And a lot of their work, especially as songwriters and producers, goes unnoticed for the general public. So this is our space to kind of recognize them and say, hey, we see the good work you're doing. We appreciate what you've done. And we just want to just show our appreciation and give you a token of gratitude. And we'll hand out awards for members that have reached #1 on different charts around the world, have accomplished different things. It's just a great night of camaraderie and just learning, and just a night of music industry, just fellowship. Next is our Words and Music magazine, is our online publication that we have, and we have a print version as well. But that's a space where we can use to promote our members for whatever they're working on. If our member was a part of a big project, that's where we would want to showcase that and highlight that and let the world know that, hey, this person did this, or this person's working on this, or we have different mediums within that where maybe it's not tied to a project. Maybe it's just tied to somebody's opinion on a type of project or a process. A lot of things that we portray in our Words and Music magazine is all music encompassing, but it's not necessarily focused on a specific thing at one time. It may not be about a specific project. It may just be about mixing. It may be about someone's process in the studio. It may be about somebody's vantage point on the current state of the music industry. But we always try to make it a great source where people can get information, because I think we're living in an age of information overload. So being in a space where information is properly curated and tailored makes things that much easier and that much more digestible. And then it keeps it fun too, because again, music is supposed to be fun and you're supposed to be learning, but you don't want to be bombarded with information where you don't know how to decipher which is what. So words and music, I feel like the team that handles that does a great job at that. Next is our social supports. So again, our Instagram, our TikTok. You'll get a lot of live coverage there. Again, we just came from the Junos, so there's a lot of amazing clips of conversations we've had with artists, or just seeing behind the scenes of certain things that are happening in the industry. Events that we do, we'll post it there that are upcoming for the world to see, or things that have happened, we'll just post it there so you get some insight into the world of SOCAN and what our creative executives are doing and what our members are doing. And then lastly is our #1 awards. So similar to the SOCAN Awards, SOCAN Awards being a night that's focused on our members, our #1 Awards is an ongoing thing that we do throughout the year. And again, it's just a way to celebrate our members and just let them know that, hey, we see the good work you're doing. So as I mentioned before, we make it our due diligence to follow the charts and see where our members are. So whenever our member has hit a #1 on any chart, we make it a point to present them with a plaque to say, hey, congratulations on your achievement. We see the good work you're doing, and we want you to continue to do great work, because again, without you guys, we wouldn't exist. So it's just our token of appreciation to show you that we support you guys, and we're here for you. Lastly, I want to talk about our networking events. So our networking events are somewhat similar to the SOCAN Awards, but on a smaller scale. They're usually smaller scale or little mixers that we have in our various cities, so Toronto, LA, Montreal, Nashville, where we'll have our creative team and our executive team, so our president, our CMO, will come out, and it's just a great time for members to have some FaceTime with us, because a lot of times you're talking to us over email, or you might catch us out in an event, or maybe we'll get a little coffee chat in here and there. At our Connect parties, it's just one-on-one FaceTime, and you can just talk to us about what you're working on. Maybe there's something you have a concern about, we can address it. And a lot of times we're just fans of the great work that our members are doing, so it gives us an opportunity to be like, hey, I saw the work you did on this, or I heard the song you put out there. Like, great job, like, keep up the good work. So it's just a good space for us to connect with our members and let them know that we appreciate them and that we're here to support them any which way we can. So I want to talk about our sister company, SOCAN Foundation. SOCAN Foundation is an amazing resource. Again, one of those things that I wish I knew coming up as an artist as I was climbing the ranks of the industry. It's just phenomenal with all the work they do. I know a lot of people who are familiar with SOCAN Foundation are very familiar with the granting system, primarily the travel grant being the most popular. So the travel grant essentially is a grant that the foundation gives out to SOCAN members to help with travel costs for things of musical nature that help career development. And I believe that's upwards of $1,000 per year per member. And you would just submit to whatever it is you're going to do. You apply, you fill out the form, just giving details about, hey, this is my travels, this is what I'm doing. And then once it's approved, you go on your trip. When you come back, you submit your receipts, and then they'll reimburse you for that. So I think it's a really cool program that we have. Again, there's a career development grant as well, and that's more directly tied to career development. So if you're taking a course or something that's helping aid you in your career, that's another means you can use. And then we have a bunch of other cool programs like our business incubator, the Production 101, Screen Music Laboratories. These are all amazing programs that I implore you guys to look into and really just find the one that works for you and just get involved. Also, we have in our awards that they do through the SOCAN Foundation, the Indigenous Songwriters Awards, Black Canadian Music Awards, the Her Music Awards, Young Canadian Songwriter Awards, Young Composer Awards, Emerging Screen Composer Awards. It's just so much great work that SOCAN Foundation is doing to help support the industry and help support emerging talent. I implore you all to just go on the website and check it out, SOCANFoundation.ca, and just look at what's there, because there's so much information and so much opportunities there for creatives that are emerging in Canada to be a part of. And even just from a funding standpoint, there's space there for you guys to kind of procure and utilize those tools as well. So please, by all means, jump into it and just take a look. All right. So next I want to talk about our SOCAN member portal. So I like to say to people, this is where the magic happens. This is where you can see everything about your SOCAN profile, about your business that you're building. This is where you can see all your back catalog, where all your songs are registered, where you'd register your set list. If you've been a part of a show, this is where you would submit your cue sheets. You can even calculate to see an idea of what royalties would be on a specific work that you have out in the world. I tell members the same way I would tell anybody, go into your online banking once every 2 weeks. Go into your SOCAN account every 2 weeks. Because a lot of times when I've spoken to members that have had issues with their account or with a particular work, the answer lies within their account. I've had members that have reached out to me and said, hey, I worked on this song, but I seen my statement come in, and I don't see that song on there. Am I not getting paid for that? And we'll do a deep dive and go into their portal, and once we log into their account, we'll realize, hey, that song is in a dispute. So when I say a song is in a dispute, meaning that a song is like a pie. It equals 100%. But if the song is more than 100%, then that means there's something wrong. That means someone's claiming that they did more work or did a bigger share or have a bigger share of the pie, than everyone else. And that will put the song in a dispute. So once a song is in dispute, the song is not being paid out on. It will be collecting, but no one will be paid out until the work is equaled back to 100 and everyone is in agreement with that. So again, a lot of that information is visible in your SOCAN member portal. You can see all the works that are registered there. So I tell people, please, 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 please go into your SOCAN account, because it will save you a world of headache. And again, even if you have changes to make on a record, if something in the same space that I'm talking about a dispute, if you have to change the values of shares, you can do that in your account. So please just go in and check it out, and it doesn't hurt. And it's also good insight to your statements on your quarterly statements, because when you're talking about the PRO system, we have different tiers. So there's a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 being your major PRO, so your SOCANs, your ASCAPs, your BMIs, your PRSs, and then it goes further and further down. When you get further out into the world, the PRO system tends to break down in tiers, and because of that, their payment schedules tend to be a bit different. So in North America, our payment schedules tend to be quarterly. So every quarter you'll receive a check from SOCAN for whatever works you have out in the world. Whereas in other parts of the world, their payment schedule may be every 18 months. So when you log into your account, you can see the different places where your music is being played, and you can see what their schedule is. So it gives you foresight. So if you have a song that's doing numbers in Korea, well, you can see that their payment schedule is 18 months as opposed to every quarter. Okay, cool. So I know I have to wait X amount of time before I can receive, or I can hope to see some type of compensation from this song. And the same thing with set lists. Set list payout, I believe it's 13 months after you've submitted the set list. And again, that information is all available in your SOCAN account. So please log in, check it out, see what's there, and know what's going on with your business, because it's so important. So my next thing is, how do you guys reach us? How do you get in contact with SOCAN? If you have questions, if you want to learn more about what we're working on, this is how you do it. Members at SOCAN.com. I always say that's the best way to go. You can always call us as well, but I tell people email is always the best, because you have a paper trail. You can always reference it, because a lot of times when you're talking to someone on the phone, you may remember the conversation in the moment, but when you want to go back and reference it, you might forget, because we have so many things going on in our lives that we can't keep track of everything. So at least if it's on email, you can be like, hey, okay, this is the conversation, this is the information I needed. I have something tangible to look back to. But yeah, I would say if you want to connect with us, members at SOCAN.com. Again, like I mentioned, our socials on Instagram, TikTok, SOCAN Music. If you're Francophone, SOCAN Music. But yeah, just please, we'd love to hear from you. And we'd love to just see more members involved in the things that are going on. Just take advantage of all these creative opportunities. 'Cause like I mentioned before, I wish I knew about these when I was coming up. So I just make it a point to make sure you guys know about this, because I think it's important, and I think it's really advantageous for you guys to be a part of this, because it's only going to help you in your pursuits and make things easier for you in the long run. And with that, it's everything. So if you guys have any questions, I'd love to hear it.
First of all, we want to say this is awesome.
Amazing. Big round of applause.
Yeah, amazing. I'll be honest, I learned a lot. You know, I didn't know SOCAN did
Yeah.
all of this. Like I don't know, what was your amazing?
I may, like, for me, the creative support part of it was an incredible thing to hear, because I did not realize that there's that much opportunity for artists to plug into a support system that's already established, it's set up, and it's doing a good thing. So if you feel you're all alone, you don't have to.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is good. I'm making a lot of notes here, but I think that is I mean, the whole idea of the Sound Loud, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Sound Lounge.
Can you imagine having a place that you can go and do some tracking of your songs that's in your head? I mean, that's incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
Just to
Honestly, like I said, it's just amazing to know that these things exist,
Yeah.
because there's so many creatives within the GTA that are trying to figure it out. So having a support system like SOCAN to help you and assist you on your journey, it's priceless.
yeah, and it sounds like it'd be a good trip to go to LA.
Listen,
I think
I
that'd
want
be
to see
fun.
the SOCAN houses.
I know. Just as an artist, if you were part of SOCAN, this would be a great opportunity for you to tap in, see what's going on in SOCAN, and go onto the website, like you said, SOCAN.com, and check out what's going on. I mean,
Yeah.
that is, I can't believe there's so much information that you've just been throwing on us, man.
And just to add to your comment about LA, I should say this, and I tell this to members all the time. If you are looking to travel to Nashville or LA, specifically LA, give yourself a good amount of lead time when you're trying to secure the SOCAN house, because LA is definitely a hotbed.
Absolutely.
So it's like the calendar will be booked maybe 3
booked up.
months in advance. So again, give yourself that leeway. If you know, hey, I'm trying to go to LA in September, look at it now and get that request in as soon as possible.
Now, I noticed you were also talking about the SOCAN Foundation, and you had some really incredible things, incentives for young artists and all that type of stuff. What about the old guys?
It's for everyone.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's for everyone. It's for every artist. I think, to me, being an artist has no age, right? It's one of those things that is just infinite. It's the artist within you. Again, there's young artists that are doing amazing work. There's more seasoned artists that are doing phenomenal work that the young artists revere, right? And there's a reason for that. So
Totally. And I love the member portal. That is an incredible resource for you as an artist. I mean, can you imagine having all that information at your fingertips?
yeah, the member portal is awesome.
It's a lot of work that they've done on your behalf. So that's a given, like, wow. Great thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know I'm recapping what you said, but those things stood out to me. Those things seem to be something I think that artists can really grab onto and utilize. So, yeah, that's cool.
I feel like adding a transformer line like SOCAN's more than what meets the eye.
Yeah, you know, that's true. So, yeah, so once you become a member at SOCAN.com is the place to resource
members at
all that.
SOCAN.com. And
So-
again, to sign up to SOCAN, it's not paid, it's free. The membership is free.
Wow.
And it's like signing up for like a Facebook or Instagram
So
account.
you're telling me
It
it's
takes
a
like 5
win-win?
minutes.
Is that what you're saying?
It's a win-win. it's a win-win. I tell people all the time, if you're not a member, it's like you're doing yourself a disservice,
Yeah.
because again, you don't pay to get access to all this information and all these resources. So why not? Right? So
Very cool indeed.
Okay, I'm getting some questions.
Let's get some
coming in.
questions off of our YouTube. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Go ahead.
Does SOCAN kind of overlap in any degree with sort of copyright sort of stuff like that?
We'll talk about copyright infringement with SOCAN. What is that type of?
So again, if you're talking about your performance right, that is a type of copyright there's various different types of copyright. The performance right is based off of the composition, so the songwriting side, right? And then the mechanical right is based off of the master side. So most again, if you're a published writer or if you're assigned to a label, your mechanical rights will be administered by the label, right? So if you're looking in the space of copyrights, again, those are two different types of copyrights. But yes, essentially those are copyrights.
So there is some kind of overlap to a certain
Yes.
extent with
Okay.
what's
Yes.
Certain amount of overlap. Okay. So any questions online?
Yes, there is. We have an artist that performs his songs on TikTok.
Nice.
So his question is, how does it work as an artist performing my songs live on TikTok all the time? Are there payouts for that?
That one is a little nuanced, just because the world or the music community is still trying to understand its relationship with TikTok. There's a lot of I don't know if you're familiar, but there's a lot of like legislation going on between the music industry and TikTok. So it's kind of a gray area in a way. We're all still trying to figure out what that conversation looks like and what that relationship looks like. But we're trying to get it to a space where artists are properly compensated for the works that they're putting out in that world.
Right. Because they're obviously not being compensated for the plethora of songs that are on there. That makes sense.
Okay. He said, heads up, yo. Okay.
Someone's just chatting with us online. That's great.
He's responding.
Great. Awesome.
Another question that I know I received beforehand is, now there's a lot of support with SOCAN and the artists, and I think that's absolutely awesome. More than what I expected. I literally was thinking, like you, it was PRO. They track your royalties and then they give you your royalties and that's it. That's all I thought. So, and I'm enlightened too. But one of the questions that did come was in relation to, I guess, event producers. We were in conversation with one person who does a huge event out in the prairies.
Okay.
Big festival. And he wanted to know what's the relationship between SOCAN and I'll call it the event producers in terms of royalties, and I assume is it their pay? How does that all work?
So, as I mentioned before, when we're collecting on different copyrights and licensing, there's your live music venues and the non-live music venues. So, doing a festival would be considered a live music venue, right? So there would be a licensing fee that would be paid out for that to make sure those artists are compensated. And again, from an artist standpoint, that's where you would get into the space of submitting a set list, like I had mentioned before. So that's usually where the relationship lies as far as that goes. If it's more so they're looking to have SOCAN directly involved in the festival, that's a conversation that can be had as well. But if it's just from an overarching standpoint, again, it's usually from a licensing perspective. And then from the artist standpoint, it's just about them submitting the set list to be compensated for those works.
So just to reiterate, the artist is responsible for sending the set list?
Correct.
Okay. Would the event producer have to do anything? I assume they pay a license.
Yeah.
So do they submit something to SOCAN to pay this license?
So it depends, because with the event producer, usually it's done in a venue. So if it's done in a music venue, that venue's already paying that license, right? If it's done somewhere else, then it's a different conversation. But 9 times out of 10, it's like they're not doing an event in the middle of nowhere. It's like, oh, I'm going to do it at this concert hall or at this stadium or this arena that's already in conversation with us. So that license is usually taken care of. So then they're free to kind of just move forward and just promote their event.
Okay. So, but if it's in a big open area like a farmland or something like that, that's a different conversation.
That would be a different conversation, and it would be a more nuanced conversation that, again, we would have then, and then we would just kind of figure out the best way to go with that.
Okay. I know you didn't mention it here. In Tandem, is that related to SOCAN?
Yes. So in Tandem, that's our, we partner with In Tandem to collect on the mechanicals with SOCAN RR. So that's the company that we go through to make sure that collection is done correctly.
Okay, so SOCAN RR is connected with
Correct.
In Tandem. Okay,
That makes sense.
I've heard of In Tandem,
Yes,
that's why.
yes, we have.
Okay, any other questions from the audience here?
All right,
They're
now,
silent. They're
I have one question I'd like to just
Sure.
follow up. Is there something that maybe you would like to, from your own heart, tell the people that are watching right now that maybe you didn't mention, or maybe you have mentioned, but you think is worthy of saying again, or maybe you haven't said it and you say, you know what, I should probably mention this.
Sign up.
Sign up.
I think that's my biggest takeaway, because again, it's like me sharing all this information, it doesn't mean anything unless you sign up and really make it actionable. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of times people will receive information or ingest information but don't know how to make it actionable. And again, the steps to make this actionable is simple. It's just 5 to 10 minutes, make your account, and then you have access to all of this. Right? It's like you have access to the SOCAN houses, you have access to the creative teams, you have access to the grant system. It's like these are all amazing opportunities and resources for artists to procure and really utilize in their day-to-day careers that they're trying to build. So yeah, that'd be my biggest thing. Like, just sign up if you're not a member and just enjoy the spoils of what SOCAN is putting forth.
So I'm going to steal a slang, steal a sound bite. Just do it. No excuses. Let's just sign up today. That's so cool.
That is. Well, I'm still blown away, like, by all of what SOCAN does, and I bet if I'm blown away, I'm sure you are blown away. I'm sure there are many artists that are watching right now, whether you are just starting out, whether you are or seasoned, maybe you're a seasoned artist, and just like Quest said at the beginning, maybe you just thought, well, SOCAN's there to, where's my check? And how come they didn't pay me my money for this event? And you're probably just thinking that, but SOCAN offers a whole lot more. And what I love about this is it has the same heart as what we have at GMI Hub, which is we want to support artists the best way we know how. SOCAN's doing it the best way they know how, and they've done it a whole lot longer, right? And I think it's just awesome that these resources are available. And I think one of you touched on this about artists feeling alone, and we've encountered that with a number of artists that we've talked to. They feel alone. They feel like there's no support, no help. Well, obviously from what you've heard today, and hopefully from what you've heard from us over 150 episodes, is that you're not alone. There is support. There is help available. You just need to reach out and almost like the song, reach out and touch. Reach out and just ask. Just reach out. Just ask for that information. If you didn't get it, I know we put it in the chat and it was said here. If you want directly to get to SOCAN, go to their website, SOCAN.com, right?
Yep,
Not
SOCAN.com.
SOCAN.com, and you can definitely get information there. If you have questions as a member, email members, plural,
members,
right? Plural.
members at SOCAN.com.
Members at SOCAN.com.
Members at SOCAN.com?
Yeah.
Members at SOCAN.com. I have to say it 100 times. Members at SOCAN.com.
You can email. And if you don't forget, if you don't remember any of that, you can still email us and we'll send you that email as well, which is contact@gmihub.ca. We'd be happy to forward that information to you as well.
So if you've been watching, and just wanted to say thank you for watching, but I want you to do us a big favor. I want you to hit the notification bell and hit the subscription just to let us know that you are, appreciate what we're doing here. We want you guys to really partner with us as we can grow together. Because the more of you that subscribe, the better we can do what we're doing. We really, really need your help. So get your friends, musician friends, come on board, subscribe, notification bell. You let us know the next time we upload a video, and make a comment. Please, let's communicate. And if you want to know more about what GMI Hub is up to, gmihub.ca. It's our website. It's an incredible resource for you. Please connect with us. Drop us an email. We would love to communicate with you and journey with you as you continue moving forward in your music, okay? Really important. And if you're a producer or engineer, please, same thing, communicate with us because we want to be part of this family together and helping each other. That's why we're called the Hub. Ooh. All right, so that would be great for you guys to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. I can't add more to that except that the next time we connect, which will be next month, actually in 2 months as well, we are going to have a couple come back and talk about, I want to say touring, time management and touring.
Right, yes. Life and touring balance.
Yeah,
Basically, it's going to be an interesting topic and you don't want to miss that.
that's right.
Monday night songwriting,
We also-
collaboration, really important. We talked about collaboration today, and I think that's really good that SOCAN has that. That's an amazing thing to take advantage of. But also, we do it ourselves here for you to collab with others.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. So our next collaboration in person is going to be on April the 22nd.
That's right.
And we're also going to do one online the following week, which is April the 29th. I have to make sure I
That's
got
right,
the dates
7
right.
days. Yeah, you got it. And we want you to be a part of that and come and hang out with us. And we got so many great people that come to those meetings with great ideas. Some
right.
people come with songs they've started. Some people come with songs that they don't know where to go with, or they just want some lyrical choices. And, you know, you could be part of that collaboration. It's really cool.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get, Quest to come and one of
Maybe.
them and kind of give his insight on this is what you can do from SOCAN's perspective.
Yeah, I'd love to.
That's great. So thanks again for watching and joining us today. It's been great to have you along. And
And this will be available here on our YouTube channel.
yeah.
And for those of you who have signed up, we're also going to put it in our back door, if you want to call it, as a resource, so that you can always have access to this information. We think this is very valuable. And I will ask this: if you have enjoyed this seminar, this is the first time we've actually done a seminar setup. Let us know, because if this is something that is of value to you, we'll be happy to do something like this again with other organizations, if that's going to help you in your career. Okay? We'll probably be sending out some questions to get some feedback from you, so look out for that. In the meantime, enjoy. I was going to say enjoy the sunshine, but the sunshine has gone down here. So enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time right here on GMI Hub Online. Bye for now.